Measurements and installation kind of go hand in hand. You have to measure it. Most of the time when you're measuring a door, it's for installation. So the standard size for a residential door is 2 feet 8 inches in width. The standard size for commercial is 3 feet. When you measure the door, you need to include the actual width of the opening plus 6 inches for the door facing. As you saw on the pre-hung door, the door came with the facing already attached. So if you were buying a door without the facing, you have to include that measurement. You need to allow for a 2x4 to go along the width of the door on top of the frame. This creates the header, which supports the weight of the wall. Maintenance. Some easy remedies to help your door remain functional and aesthetically pleasing. Some of the main complications that can occur with your doors are them becoming squeaky, they start to sag, the hinges become sticky or they start to stick, and there's also your door may warp. For a squeaking door, you just need to apply a few drops of oil at the top of each hinges. Sagging doors, loose hinges are a common cause for this. You just tighten them, but if it continues to sag, try installing bigger hinges because the weight of the door might be dragging it down and the hinges may not be able to hold it up. Or you can install a third hinge if it can't continue to support the weight. For a sticking door, you need to check the hinges for excess paint, see if the door has swollen with humidity. If the first, identify the tight spot and shave off the excess paint. If the second, you need to remove the door from moist air to allow the wood to shrink back to its normal size, and then you can reinstall it. For a warping door, you need to close the door and put shims under and above the door. A shim is a small piece of wood, and it's normally slid underneath the door to help support it when you're doing installation, but it can also help in this instance if the shims are in place long enough or often. The door should regain its original shape. The quality. There are 4 main different ways that a door quality can be different. There's the core construction, there's solid core and hollow core. Solid core is naturally going to be more expensive. The materials used can also change. It can be made out of metal or glass, fiberglass. It can have a veneer placed over it. There's many different types of ways that the materials can vary. Installation and hardware. Also, if you have fancy hardware or hardware that is just more expensive, the quality will definitely change. Varieties. These are all the different types of doors. I'm just going to go through a few of them. A hollow door is only allowed to be used in interiors because it does not pass a certain fire safety test. It needs to be a solid core door for an outdoor. Solid core can also be used for interior doors if you want better acoustical control or if you just like the aesthetic look of it. Folding doors and accordion doors are mainly used for closets and tight spaces that you cannot use the extra area for the door swing. Pocket doors, they are not good if you need acoustical control. Sound will travel through them very easily. The Jalowsi door is really good in tropical climates because they have the slits in them. Revolving doors, they are mainly used for commercial and because it helps control traffic control. Also, it is a good environmental helper. It controls the intake of hot air into the room. And overhead doors, those of course are mainly used for garages. Environmental and sustainable design. Now, revolving doors, like I just mentioned, they help with traffic control, but they also are helpful with the energy costs. Because of them continuously revolving and they have seals, that you don't have to keep the door open as long and there's less hot air coming into the room. So the energy bill will naturally decrease. Recycled and refurbished doors. One main company that I found that does this is Geldwin. They are using recycled materials to build their doors. And if you're shopping for a door, a label that you should keep an eye out if you're looking for an environmental friendly one is the Energy Star label. ADA. The Americas with Disabilities Act of 1990, or ADA. These are all the requirements for doors that must be passed in order for it to be a universal design. Doors must have 36 inches width accessibility. The floor on either side of the door have to be level for a minimum of 60 inches, and the door must extend to a minimum of 12 inches on either side. Thresholds must be flush with the floor, but if a raised one is mandatory, it must be beveled to touch the floor on either sides. This helps people who have trouble walking, either in a wheelchair or with a walker. A minimum of 42 inches is required in between door panels and door openings. Door openings can never be directly across a stairway. For closets, storage areas, and restroom stalls, the doors have to swing outward. Sliding doors hang from a self-lubricated lubrication track above the lower glides. For door openings into corridors, protection is required. Swinging doors must have a vision panel of 36 inches above the floor, which must be made of safety glass. Fire codes. These are the two fire testings used for doors. There's the NFPA 80 or the NFPA 252. Now the NFPA 80 tests doors and windows, and the NFPA 252 it tests the door assemblies. The main difference between this is the 252 has to be tested to withstand thermal shock for when there's a fire and it's being put out with the cold water. We don't want it to shatter or have any complications. And this is the end of my slideshow.